Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I did a video for Instagram that was shorter, and I wanted to really just have something for YouTube to elaborate a little bit more about the latest case with Dr. Attia and the Epstein files. Dr. Attia is one of many, many, many names that is on that file. I haven't actually looked at them yet. I just paused on Dr. Attia. I saw Deepak Chopra. I wish I could have said that I was surprised, but I really wasn't, especially about Deepak Chopra. With Attia, it never really occurred to me, but not surprised either. But this really speaks of the many, many issues in the whole system, and I think we need to speak about it. I am, I guess, I am a creator, but I'm a naturopath. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm a women wellness a specialist who really wants to help women because I wanted to help myself when I got into this to get healthier, to be heard, to look at science, to look at also intuition, to look at a very holistic approach to our well-being because we are unique. We are not smaller men. I know that a lot of people are now saying online that we shouldn't use that term, that this is being used too much. And, everything is being used too much. We are a lot of creators online, we're a lot of people. But the truth is, we are not smaller men. We don't function like men. Our bodies are not manly. So, our hormones are not like men. So, I mean, we are unique and we need to really cater to what we need as women, and I don't think there is anything wrong with that. And unfortunately, I do not agree when people say otherwise. I also don't agree, however, with men like Atia, like Uberman, that come on and they just pretend to be experts about women's hormones. Look, I understand very well how the endocrine system works and how men's hormone work, and they are much simpler than women. But I do not claim to be an expert. I have men coming to me asking me for support and like help. And for example, I have men at the gym, by the way, who talk to me about them using testosterone, and they want me to share my opinion. And aside from saying, look, the fact is, if you don't have a testosterone issue, taking testosterone to build your muscles is going to have a really, really big impact on your overall hormonal health, including your reproductive system. So unless you really want to end up with a little shrinked weenie, maybe you should just get off that. Aside from the fact that roid rage is a real thing, and we can see it in people that take it. So but I'm not an expert. So I'm like, I am not the person to speak to. Go and see your urologist, go and see your endocrinologist, and get off these things in a safe way because you probably got on without being safe. So that's always the way that I approach things. If I'm not an expert, and I'm not an expert, nobody's an expert in everything because the science is changing, evolving, thank God. We're learning new things every day. If we're stuck in one way and we think that that's the only truth that we ever will have, we are not evolving. And this is the problem with a lot of people in science, in religion, in life, where we are like stuck to something that becomes very dogmatic. We almost attach our identity to that. And I always maintain that we know something to be true, with the caveat that we can change our mind when new information is presented to us. It makes sense and is provable. And this is why we have science. Do I believe that science has the answers to everything? No. Because of course it's still, even in randomized control studies, is a control setting, it's not real life. There are caveats, there are nuisances. This is why I don't love and I don't do short format on Instagram, and which is why I will never be a trendable Instagram thing. Like sometimes I do shorter videos, mostly on my yoga because I can speed it up. But the truth is, if you want to explain something, you have to go really deep into details. So, going back to the fact that the system is broken, we have these guys talking about being experts about longevity and fitness and whatever. Now, I don't want to discredit, and I really want to make it clear. I don't like Peter Attia. I don't like Huberman, truly, as individuals, in the sense that when I listen to them, I just don't get that trust feeling. Okay. But that's my intuition. However, I watched their shows, many, many, many episodes of both, and many more. Some things I truly agree with. I can see the science, it makes sense. Other things I can spot the bias, which they don't often own up to. Like I own up to the fact that I'm vegan. So my practice and my approach is plant based because if we can do things in a plant based way, why wouldn't we? But I also have, of course, the ethical side, which is, you know what, we don't have to hurt other living beings to be healthy. So let's find ways not to do that. Simple. And if science is supporting that, which thank God it is, because I really didn't want to give up on being vegan, um, then it's great, right? So, but I also acknowledge that some people need a more tweaked and bespoke approach because of whatever reason. And so we have to be flexible, and sometimes we have to acknowledge that maybe the short term we don't agree with is going to really impact the long term that we do agree with. But with these guys, I always see very permanent statements, like they are very short. And actually, this is what makes great influencers. They are short of what they say so they can sell it to you. Brilliant in a commercial space, but it's not real. And a lot of people are getting hurt because of that. I mean, highlight the carnivore approach. People are going to suffer. Colorectal cancer is on the rise in countries like the US, the UK. The US is a country that has embraced the carnivore lifestyle big time. All the influencers are there, they're in your face all the time. People are getting sick, right? And obviously, the US is a big country, so millions and millions of people. And of course, the whole world has tag along because that's social media for you. Um, but the point is that this culture that has been always elitist offline, and this is not even going to the elitist part of like the Epstein stuff, but like even people that are just gaining momentum and they have a platform, like, even Dr. Hyman, that I personally think, I bless him, when I actually found out about him and his approach to real food, I was really taken by him. He was really one of my inspirations. In fact, in my first book, The Live Lean Health Plan, I mentioned him because he really was the one that kind of got me onto this new, real food thing, even though I very shortly after that went plant-based because of Dr. Neil Barnard and because I had issues with glucose and high cholesterol. And then I see him now just swinging. Like he doesn't really have sustenance. When he does a podcast, everybody that comes in, he kind of swings their way to make sure that it's agreeable. I guess as a podcast host that I am too, we tend to do that not to offend our guests. I must say I'm not very good at confrontation right there and then without preparing. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting one. However, there is this group of people that get all the platforms. So Attia became huge. Uberman is huge. And they have these platforms. But at the same time, they're also people that have shown not to have a moral campus that I really regard as something that is important in the wellness space, in healthcare. Even if we're giving advice online and we're not giving medical advice, we're giving generic advice, the truth is we are responsible for how people perceive. Okay, we're not responsible for how they understand and interpret it because we can't control that. But when we give information, the nuisance is important because the responsibility is we have to make sure people understand that they need to go and look at things, revise things, understand their bodies, then they can make a choice. Otherwise, it just becomes like I'm telling you what to do for my benefit, which is selling a product or whatever. So, and we have to, another reason for putting caveats and nuisances out there is that we don't want to seem that we are hypocritical because we can be, right? I can see they're selling something. I'm also selling something. In the back, you will see News S Vitality, a good green vitality, which is my favorite product, Dr. Morse's, which I'm not an affiliate with anymore, but I do like the herbs and I always will share them. I have 38 Terra by Dr. Will Bolsevitz. I'm not an affiliate there, but again, I will say, you know what, that can help a lot of people again. So it is, I have affiliations, it's a way to obviously make money to support the channel, to support growth. I'm growing a business, I'm creating a platform. Like I'm doing a lot of things that require investment, and I don't want to get investors in because I want to have my voice there at this point. So it is important to to kind of be honest, but at the same time, I don't have, I am really vetting through different products because if I don't use them myself and I believe that they're good, I don't want to go out there and share them with other people. But I've seen people switching and swapping a little bit online. Huberman talking about the red light therapy, or not even red light therapy, sorry, the blue light glasses being BS, but then he now is collaborating with a company that makes them. Again, maybe you came across information that scientific information that supports that, but he didn't share it. It just went on, and now he's an affiliate slash investor slash collaborator. I don't know what. So it's confusing. We want to be clear, we want to be transparent. Like in every relationship, we cannot expect people to read our minds. This is something I did very badly in my relationship. If you're on my podcast, you know my personal life, more to come. But we have to hold that. And then it's the ethical side of the person, aside from, affiliations, aside from whatever bias. It's how do we behave outside the recording studio? How do we behave in life? I I can tell you, I'm gonna just share an anecdote about my life. I live in a very small place now. It's called Braga. I was even in a smaller place, Arcos de Valdevez, which is like a village in the northern of Portugal, where I opened my retreat. Um, but now I'm in Braga, a small city. It's a growing city in numbers, but it's a small city, small mentality. Everybody knows each other. Everybody gossips about each other. They all have an opinion. Life. But anybody that you meet that knows me will be able, whether they like me or not, will be able to say that I behave in a certain way. Like I really, really, really want to stay within acting with, you know, with the appropriate ethics and values that I want to share with you, because at night I need to sleep and I need to be able to look in the mirror and be like, I'm proud of you. Because that is part of self-love as well, right? Do I want to make money? Absolutely. Do I think I deserve to make money? Yes. And I deserve actually to make a lot of money because I want to change the world with what I make. I'm not ashamed of saying that I love money, but not for frugality, not for I'm more about the frugality of things, like being wise about how we spend, investing in the future, like, projects that can benefit community. But I also, um, I also see how people are easily swayed by money. And I think this is exactly what happened with Attia. But I think the foundation of how we behave is there from the beginning. Like, you need to really be tapping into yourself and say, is this worth living up what I believe in and my ethical values? Money introduction to powerful people. Attia was introduced or reached out to Epstein because he wanted an investment in his research company. After he got the introductions and he created this relationship, the idea of doing specialized care, health care, was there because it was more profitable, and because now he saw that he had access to elites who could pay between 100 and $300,000 a year to have him as their doctor. And I believe that they reached great results. I mean, I saw Jeff Bezos going from skinny fat to having good muscle tone, working with Attia, for example. But the point is that yes, and Attia is brilliant at that stuff. Really, when it comes to fitness, I think he has it down. When it comes to the other stuff, I don't agree with him. But again, you listen to these conversations and you learn, and then you just look online, do research, look at the studies, and compare, look at meta-analysis, and then you can see where, yes, it's actually sustainable long term, or there is not enough. And I mean, this is the forever debate online. This is why Brenda Davis and I are creating our new show coming out in April. But deep inside, you have to have ethics and values to want to do the right thing and give up sometimes on a big chunk of money. So when you know that you're working with a well-known pedophile who's being prosecuted for child sex trafficking and more, you have to question how. And also, you don't you do due diligence. Like, Epstein's background is nothing but flaky. Like, the way that he got into positions, it's all about this boys club. And this is what I want to go back to. Huberman, Attia, and many others online. It's the boys club, but they moved it from offline to online. And so people that want to grow, they don't have the chance, right? Everybody wants to be on their podcast because they have a big audience of millions, but nobody wants to be on a smaller podcast. I can tell you that I reached out to amazing authors and speakers that I'm like, wow, I really like you. Like, could you come and share? Because my audience might not know, they might not have the same algorithm, but they're like, you only have like 25,000 downloads a month. Oh no, we are looking at least 300,000. Okay, well, I have a while to go, but okay, thank you. And it's sad. It's sad that this is how it works. And I know that certain people are super busy, so they need to really just choose, right? But equally, why do we do this? And I guess in a way, right now, because I'm growing my podcast, I'm inviting really people that I look up to and I think, wow, they have a lot to share. But this episode actually taught me that I need to give a chance to people that are not very well known, which I have before. You can see them on my podcast. Because at the same time, the truth is they don't have a platform because nobody gave them a chance. And maybe they have more to share, the people that we look up to who actually oftentimes repeat the same thing all the time when they're going different, different episodes and different interviews. It's like the same thing, like change a little, like not the story. The main story should be the same if it's the truth, but your wisdom, like, doesn't it change over time? I don't know. For me, it changes like every time I'm learning something is a haha moment. So that is something that I wanted to like clarify. But so I think what happened with Attia, and I don't want to talk about the whole thing. It's disgusting. His emails are disgusting. He's really like somebody. Now I don't even want to listen to him because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't even trust you as a human being. So that whatever. I'm not. I don't want to listen to him. Um, Huberman and his affairs. I think that he shouldn't have an affair? No, I don't want to cast a judgment on his private life. That's his business and his wife's business, his girlfriend, whatever. But making women think that they are the only one and you have five or six, that's not okay. That's again boys club. I also don't like when people say that the emails are locker room talk, because the other thing that I want to point out here about this toxic masculinity of the system is that boys in a locker room should not talk about women that way anyway. Whether it's on emails or in a locker room, it doesn't make it right. So, parents, please look after your children, especially if you have boys, and teach them to stand in being correct with their words and polite and respectful of the other sex and themselves, because locker room talk is just a representation of what's going on inside them, the insecurity, the poor upbringing, and the societal impact on them with this culture that says to them, if you're not talking this way, you're not a man. Let's change that. And for women here, we are responsible if we have boys in our homes, if we have children, because ultimately you are the feminine, you are the nourishing. You can nourish and teach your husband if they want to listen and learn. Not always, I know, but your children are your children and your values seep in through them. So when you have children, just be very intentional about how you raise them, because it will make a massive difference about how they speak to themselves, to each other, and how they can actually help other children who maybe don't have this chance of having amazing awakened parents. And sadly, a lot of parents are just not there. But again, not judgment, but we have to take responsibility, because having children is not just the pregnancy, the delivery, off you go. It's a whole package. So it's this that I wanted to share. Don't put people on a pedestal. Don't, and at the same time, whatever you learn from Attia and Huberman and whoever else, take it. The good stuff, the real things, take them on, keep them on. They're not untruth, but now you can make a choice if to follow that kind of person, or to actually, the big penalty they're gonna get is people just getting off their platform and being like, I'm sorry, but like, you shared great information, but I cannot support you because your standards are so low that me listening to you will lower my standards too, period, just as a person, not necessarily because of everything else, the science, I mean, the information, which again is not always correct, and not always acknowledging bias. But this is what I wanted to share. And I really would love us women to come together and support each other. And I am going to plug in a little bit of personal support that I want from you. If you're listening to this, support my channel, share it with your friends, but also reach out to me. Ask me what you want me to dive into, things that you have questions about your women's health, your period, nutrition, especially plant-based, anything you're confused about, because I don't want to just create things that and they are for me, because this is not for me. Like, this is supposed to be for us to create a community. And the internet is a very, very negative space and very overwhelming, but we can, thankfully, change the narrative and actually make it a beautiful space where we can be supportive of each other. So that's what I'm trying to get to. All right, I want to send you love, and in the next one I will also, I hope to have amazing guests on my podcast from this area of being really big YouTubers, that women that are sharing and caring, because together we're stronger. We have a voice. And I don't want to go into the Epstein stuff too much right now, because it's really upsetting to see a man that gets away with murder, literally, or got away with murder until he murdered himself, like he killed himself, allegedly. Um, that he could do stuff like this to teenagers, children, that he was helped by a woman and many others, like that they were grooming these young children and almost making them also not just the victims but also the predators, because how can a 15 years old know better? Like, they just don't. And I think they really they targeted people that were very vulnerable, and that is awful. Anyway, I wanted to share this. And so it's heavy out there, and so we have to come together, and I hope that we can do this using social media for the good, right? Bye.